Hi and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to continue our series on cuDF, which is a CUDA-accelerated version of Pandas that comes from NVIDIA. Now, in this video, we're going to pick up where we left off from the last video, which was how to manipulate and work with kind of messy real-world data and do things like changing data types inside of a data frame. In this video, we're going to learn how to do some statistical analysis on our dataset. I'm going to presume no statistics background, and we're really going to do a cursory level overview of how you get some basic statistics from your dataset. We're not going to go too deep into that. I have a whole bunch of other videos on this channel that do go into a deeper dive on statistics that you can do with pandas. And if you want to learn about that, feel free to check it out there. But for this one, we're just going to introduce you to some of the core functionality that you should be familiar with when working with big data in cuDF. So stick around. I am very excited because this entire series is being done on this machine behind me. This is the Dell Workstation Precision 3680, and inside of it is a beast of a setup. It's got an RTX 5000 ADA from NVIDIA. This is a GPU with 32 gigabytes of VRAM, which is more than enough to not only run inference with most of the models that I need, but also even fine-tune them, models like Qwen 2VL. This is a massive GPU that not only allows me to leverage machine learning more easily, it also allows me to do things like what we're seeing in this series, load up large datasets, thanks to NVIDIA's GPU-accelerated Python packages like cuDF, cuGraph, and cuML. So thank you so much to Dell and NVIDIA for really sponsoring this series and giving me this workstation. This workstation came installed with Ubuntu 24.04 and was very easy to set up. And I'm really excited about this because, as you all probably know, I'm a digital nomad. I travel full time. I can't bring a workstation like this with me everywhere I go, despite the fact that it has a very small footprint. That said, I'm going to be spinning this up as a workstation server that I can call from anywhere I'm at in the world. So for the next few months, while I'm in Argentina, I'll be able to access this GPU and keep on bringing you content from it for the next few months. So thanks again, NVIDIA and Dell. Now that we're inside of our notebook, I'm going to begin by doing something a little different. We're going to go ahead and comment out, just for right now, our load extension magic command so that we can pass everything off to our GPU. In other words, for the next few minutes, we're going to be doing everything on the CPU. And there's a really good reason for this. I want to show you really where cuDF excels. And that's going to be in data manipulation inside of Pandas. And we're going to be looking at this data set, which is roughly 4.3 million rows and roughly about 2 to 3 gigabytes of data. And we're going to go ahead and load everything up. And we're going to pass off also this time magic command. So we can see it's going to take roughly 10 seconds in my experience to load up our data set. So 7.6 seconds to load up this data set of 4.3 million rows and roughly 2 to 3 gigabytes in size. And we're not going to really worry about NVIDIA-SMI right now because we're doing everything right now on our CPU. And let's go ahead and just take a look at this data set real fast. And if you need to remember how to download this data set, the second video in this series, or you can just go to the notebooks here, we'll show you how to do that. Our data set has a bunch of different fields from article ID all the way up to article. Now, for this video, we're really going to be doing a lot of different things with a couple different fields here, but we're really going to focus right now on this article field. What is article? Well, article is the article itself. So this is a collection of newspaper articles. So we've got things like the newspaper name, the date of the article, the page that it falls on, the headline, the byline. But for right now, we have the raw text of the actual article. Remember, these aren't great raw text. They were OCR'd, and newspapers are one of the most challenging things to OCR for a lot of different reasons, mainly because they have complicated layout, and the text is oftentimes, especially with historical newspapers, is very difficult to work with. So what are we going to do? Well, one of the things I want to do in order to do some statistical analysis, which is really the whole point of this whole video, is I'm going to do some data conversion. And the thing I have to do is I need to get some extra fields in my data set, some extra numerical fields. I'm going to be really analyzing two things. One, the word count. I'm going to be doing a very naive word count. This is not best practice. This is just to do this quickly and effectively. We are going to be separating everything out by white space. Of course, words don't work like that, nor do tokens. And so we're going to separate everything out and then add 1. So we're starting at 1 and then working our way up. So every time there's a white space, we presume that there is a new word added to that data set. So we're going to count the words of each article, and then we're also going to measure out the length. This is going to measure out each character. Remember, white spaces, punctuations, letters, these are all different characters. So we're going to go ahead and create these two new fields. And we're going to, again, use this time magic command. We're going to see how long this kind of data creation essentially takes, the creation of these two new fields. Now remember, we're working with really on the small side of big data, just at that cusp. So when we start to see things take a little longer than maybe they should, and we see that this takes roughly 10 seconds. So let's go ahead now and scroll back up, and we are going to go ahead and restart this entire notebook, and we are going to start by importing with the load extension magic command cuDF pandas. And with 0 coding changes, just like that, by doing everything that we would normally do on the CPU, we are now going to be passing off to our GPU. And as you can tell, each one of these things, this went from 8 seconds down to roughly a half a second. And we're doing all this on our GPU, the RTX 5000. All of these things are a lot faster on the GPU, even things like just getting the head or the first row of our data set. But let's take particular attention to right here, the creation of these two new fields. And we see that took a quarter of a second. It went from 10 seconds down to a quarter of a second. Now, while on the surface, this doesn't seem like that big of a deal, remember, this actually makes it possible to work with bigger data sets. We're seeing really the cusp of big data right here, the very start of it. If we were to try to do this with, say, 100 million rows or 10 million rows, it would be unbearably slow to do this on the CPU, to the extent where you wouldn't even want to do it on the CPU at all. You just wouldn't do it. And by passing this off to the GPU, it makes the impossible or the insanely time-consuming possible and worth doing. So this boost here is going to scale up a lot better than your CPU will. So let's again go ahead and just take a look at our first 5 rows. And as you can see here, we've got article, and if we zoom out just a little bit, maybe it's easier to pop out 1 degree, we'll see that we've got 2 new fields added. We've got word count, which again is counted by our white spaces, and we have the text length, which is our string count. Now, one of the great things about Pandas is it makes it very easy to do some really rudimentary text analysis. So we can go ahead and use the mean function, and we'll get the mean of all of our data. And we can specify that we only want to look at the numerical only column, so the fields that only have numerical values. And remember, those are word count and text length. We don't have anything else that's numerical. And we get the mean here, the word count being 120, and the text length being 810. And likewise, we can go ahead and print this off like this, and we'll notice that we have the exact same. Now, what's going on here? Well, let's take a look at what's happening behind the scenes. Notice here that we've got ourselves the profiler, which we can call up by using the magic command cuDF.pandas.profile. So what's going on here is that mean and these kinds of statistical functions don't all happen, or at least not the entirety of the sequence of operations, on the GPU. Instead, for the first time, we're able to see something that we're doing being passed off to the CPU. In this case, this ND frame rep latex, which is basically, I think, just generating what's going on right here for us. Nevertheless, we're able to see real quickly that the CPU does in fact get triggered occasionally, even when we're using cuDF. But this is for oftentimes very minimal things. Even things like mean is still being passed off to our GPU. And if we keep on scrolling down, we can get the median of our data, again, saying numeric only equals true, and we can get the word count and the text length mean, so 72 and 88. Again, very easy to get this statistical analysis here by simply using the mean function, or the median function. And likewise, we can also get the mode. And we can do that by going ahead and using df.mode, passing numeric only, and printing off this data. So what is all this useful for? Well, we can do interesting things, such as grabbing all of the word counts that are less than 5. And we can take a look at these. Now, why am I showing you all of the word counts that are less than 5? Well, oftentimes when you're trying to clean data, it's really good to take a look at things that exist on the periphery of your data. So if you're working with string data, it's really helpful to take a look at the smaller strings in your data set and the larger strings in your data set. This can tell you maybe why the mean, the median, and things like this are the way they are, why these numerical values are the way they are. And we can also get things like standard deviation by using df.std and passing numeric only and setting that equal to true. So Why am I showing you all these things? Why am I showing you things like accessing the min or accessing the max? It's because by accessing these kinds of data fields and using statistics to analyze them, you can really get a sense of what's going on in the middle and on the extremities and with the frequency in your data set without having to actually go through and look at all 4.3 million rows. And so for me as a data scientist and a historian, when I look at my data set and I see that I've got some of my articles that have a word count of 1 and a character count of 1, I start to scratch my head and say, what's going on there? And likewise, when I see that I've got some really large word count articles, I'm also curious about that. But let's take a look real quickly at what's going on with our minimum here. So we've got a bunch of articles that have a minimum count or a word count of 1 and a text length of 1, and quite a bit that have some ranges all over the place. And if we take a look at our data set by using unique, we're able to see the number of unique values for each of our fields in our data set. And once again, I'm scrolling down and I'm starting to scratch my head and wonder why in our data set of 4.37 million, I'm seeing only 4.3 unique values. If I'm thinking about articles have variants. They're different size text files or different size strings. And so I would expect for natural language to have a lot more variance than what I'm seeing here. I wouldn't expect to see 70,000 all be the exact same. And so this is where statistics and these basic little operations can really save us a lot of time and help us pinpoint problems in our data set. So let's go ahead and take a look at the top 50 article counts. So this tells us by accessing the article, getting the value counts, and then printing off the top 50, so head 50, we're able to see that continued from page D, this is an actual article, occurs 2,093 times. And if we keep on scrolling down, we'll see a lot of these are completely useless for any kind of NLP analysis. A lot of this is just really, really bad data. These are not actual articles. This is just stuff that appears at the bottom of an article that tells you where things are continued on. Remember, newspapers are very complex in their layout, and this is a common feature of them. So what do we do when we get this kind of data and see this kinds of issues? Well, the natural thing to do is to want to go ahead and clean it. So one of the things that I can do is I can grab the frequent articles, so any article that has a value count, and I want to go ahead and index that where the value counts are specifically greater than 4. So anytime a particular article occurs more than 4 times in our data set, I want to get an index of every single instance of that. And then I can go ahead and remove all of those by grabbing the data frame and then essentially looking for any occurrence of anything in that frequency index and simply dropping it. So this is a way that I can use data manipulation to clean up my data frame real quickly and effectively. And because I'm doing this on the GPU, I'm not too concerned about optimizing these functions because they're very well optimized at the hardware level. Remember, in Pandas, like anything else in Python, there's multiple ways to solve a problem, and some are going to be faster than others. But I can live with a fraction of a second. And so when I do this, I've essentially created a new data set now that's been filtered down to 4.317 as opposed to 4.37. So we've dropped a good chunk of our data that's going to be really not useless, but isn't probably going to be an actual article that I might want to examine as a historian. And if we go ahead and now look at our article value counts, we'll see that our top 5 articles are in fact not things that say things like continued on or things like that. We're starting to see much more natural looking articles. Now, this method isn't going to work copy and paste for every data set. This is just meant to show you one of the ways that you can use statistics, and specifically statistics that are all being passed off to your GPU, to quickly find issues with your data set and introduce some methods for cleaning it up a bit more. Again, good data analysis starts at good quality data. And the key to being a good data scientist is really learning how to identify bad data and learning the steps for cleaning that bad data up. And this is a great way to really analyze string data or natural language data and finding issues and correcting them. So go ahead and pause here and join me in the next video when we start talking about things like data manipulation and setting this up eventually for the last video in this series when we work with time series data. And again, we're going to be using the date time field that we met in the last video. Thank you so much for listening.